This astronaut that got lost through a wormhole. I was just taken in immediately.
I got totally entranced.
It's innovative. The characters, they're multi-dimensional.
You can't help but fall in love with every one of them, even when you hate them.
Well, you never know what they're going to do next.
I've never seen anything quite like it on television.
I thought Gianna was cool. John was cute. Definitely first reaction. It's like real life. You can have, romance or adventure or action or magic.
It's cool, it's funny, it's pop culture, it's sexy, it's full of excitement and adventure.
Very good special effects, cool writing, nice acting.
The lines come so fast, and the writing is just, it's really crisp. Finally, some science fiction on television that's smart.
There's so much in it. There's never a dull moment.
It's kind of like Shakespeare without all the large words.
It's a show that really counts on the intelligence of its audience.
I'm interested in finding out what's going to happen next.
Oh my god, television is this good.
The day that I heard that Farscape was not being renewed for another season, I knew I was shooting my last scene for season 4. I didn't realise it would be my last scene ever.
We all thought it was going again. We knew, but even like up to the last minute, we knew it was touch and go because we got a 2-season pickup. And then Brian came down to Sydney. Brian Henson has been so fantastic with Farscape. He's been so hands-on, and he's saved us in so many wonderful ways over the years and really cared about the show in a really quite amazing way, as all our producers have. So that was really quite touching. But Brian usually is the deal maker. He's the one, working the numbers with the players. And he was in town doing the nitty-gritty, and we knew that things were going rocky, but then we thought he'd sort of saved it at the last minute. And I think, as Brian explained to me, he did too, right up to the last second. He went to bed the night before thinking it was sorted, that season 5 was going to go ahead, and then woke up and it was gone. The last week of shooting, there was a feeling, intuition again. There was a feeling. Just, there was a date. We'd gone past the date, whereby the Sci-Fi Network gives you the green light or not. We'd gone past the date, we'd been assured everything's okay. The executives are down home, everyone's around. My last day of shooting, which was, I think, a Thursday, I said to Dave and Colin, remember today, boys, it could be the last time we do this. This could be the last time I have this makeup on. And they just went, you're mad, forget it. You'll be doing this for the rest of your life. That was the last day.
I was shooting my last day on set before the Christmas break, and they picked me up at 4, I think it was. So I'm stumbling into a car, really excited because it's like the last day of school. And you're going, woohoo! And they wanted Gianna from head to toe for nude scenes and stuff like that. And they put like 4, maybe 6 scenes on the last day. So it was quite an intense day. And I'm going, I hope I shoot it all, otherwise what am I going to do? It's the last day, there's no chance, we've got to get through this day. And it was such a big day. So I got through about half the day, and it was just before lunch. And I was feeling quite buggered because it was pretty much my bedtime. And they said, you're going to have at least a couple hours off set. So I'm sitting in my trailer and you can't do anything. You can barely sit down, you can barely go to the loo. If you sweat, you're in big trouble. And then I went, it's my last day, I'll put the music on and I'll have a little dance. Like this, so I'm moshing, as aliens do. And then I hear this bang, 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 and I'm going, it's probably Claudia next door because she's my neighbour in my trailer. And she's probably complaining about me disturbing the peace, as neighbours often do. And I turn the music down, I'm going, sorry, Claude, like this, and there was no answer. I went, gee, she really must be grumpy. And bang, bang, bang again, I'm going, what? And my makeup artist opened the door, and she said, hey, kid, I just want to let you know it's over. And I went, what? And she goes, that's it. No, it's done. And I said, what's done? She goes, the show. And I'm going, what show? And she goes, Farscape, it's over. I'm going, no, it's not. We haven't finished the scenes. And she goes, yeah, but after today and B in it finishes, that's it. I'm going, what do you mean that's it? She goes, it's a hard wrap. I said, what's a hard wrap? And she said, a hard wrap is when we get called up and we get asked to package all the stuff in makeup to the States to be put into storage or to whatever, and they start taking down sets and there is no more Farscape. And I was like, oh, come on, man, you've been playing with the hairspray again. What's going on? This is ridiculous. And we were out on location in this weird suburb that's a bit like the Truman Show because it's just being developed. So it's all these houses that probably haven't even been inhabited yet. So it just felt like this weird kind of ghost town, but we were in this beautiful house on the water. Someone was crazy enough and yet kind enough to lend us their house as a location. And this was adjacent to this new suburb. So we were sort of in an established suburb on the water in the south of Sydney, and the southwest. And it was an incredible day, and I was excited because they were giving me a bit of an early mark that day because I was going to learn to snowboard that weekend. And I was in total shock. Got a phone call while I was in the makeup chair and didn't say anything and just wanted to sort of keep everyone going and have my makeup done. And then suddenly all these mobile phones started ringing and people were just getting the official calls from Brian Henson and whoever else had been staying up all night to try and keep the negotiations going. And we were very surprised. I was sort of running a bet with Ben because it was the longest time we'd had. It was the longest we'd gone in a shooting schedule without knowing if we were going for another season. It would get later and later each year, but this was the longest we'd left it, and we weren't sure whether we were going to actually still be filming and know, and we may have all gone on. Our greatest fear was that we would go on to hiatus, the crew would take other jobs, and then we'd get the news that it was coming back and we wouldn't get to reunite with our whole sort of clan again. But worse news was yet to come, that it was not to be renewed at all. And Brian Henson was there, Lil Taylor and Ricky Manning from the writing department were there on set. And we were shooting on digital this day, instead of film for the documentary episode 17. Because we shoot a lot of things out of sequence, and this in particular was a B-unit day that we'd kept until the end of the shooting schedule. You're going to have to learn from every new species that comes here from now on. Now, if I sense that you don't like me, how much do you think I'm going to teach you?
Mom and Dad say we're pretty stupid.
I don't know about that. It's a pretty strong word. But I do know that you can't even fully accept us. And we're the nice aliens. You know, what about some of the next ones that come down through the wormhole? See away. Andrew Prowse walked in and said, Claudia Black, that was your last ever scene on Farscape. And I got teary, and and Ricky got teary, and Brian gave me a big hug and just said thank you for all your work and for playing Aaron, and I said thank you for this unbelievable opportunity. And I rang my agent and she almost had a heart attack because she wasn't expecting it either. And I mean, none of us really knew what to say. You know, it was just completely like you'd lost someone. It was just very, very odd, and sort of paced back and forward and giggled nerves all over my trailer floor, and sort of tried to soak it in. And she said, you're going to come out to lunch, because I usually don't go out to lunch because Nabaris melt in the sun, especially being fully covered in from head to toe. So I stumble out of my trailer and I bump into Claude, and we're both on the phone speaking to dads and agents and whatever, saying that's it, and we just looked at each other and completely mouth agape going, what's going on? We get into the mini van. I'm trying to get all my grey bits in without scraping it off, and we get in there, and everyone slowly, the words filtered round because there's no official word yet. So then we're walking through the lunch line, and I screamed out, I said, enjoy it, guys, because it's the last feed we're going to have for a while, last free feed we're going to have for a while. Think like a camel, like this. And then I handed my resume into the caterers, and they gave the official, thank you very much, everyone, it's been amazing. The show's been pulled. That's all we really have to say.
I was told, gee, I really can't remember because it was so much emotion around that time. I think initially I was quite philosophical about it, because I think I'd been told on the phone or something like that. It's like, okay, yep, this is just life as an actor, you know, it's not my first job, won't be my last, and you come in and out of families all the time, and this has been a special one, but that's its time. But then when I got onto set and started just to see everyone, especially the great mates I'd made over time, it was then that it really hit me as quite an emotional experience. That 4.5 years with these people doing, for me, 12 to 16-hour days, 5 days a week. It's just an incredible amount of time to spend with people. So they become such integral parts of your life. And that was when it became incredibly upsetting and couldn't believe it. And there it was. It was gone.
I saw Ant and he was out of makeup and he was in tears and I it was just quite shocking. I get to the back to my trailer. Brian Henson came and had a chat to me and he was quite teary and I started sort of getting a bit odd and I said, listen, Brian, I've got like 4 hours left with Chiana and that's it. And I really just want to spend these moments really enjoying her and just spending time with her. Like usually you're sort of waiting to go home and get the makeup off and go home and learn your script for the next day and stuff, and today it was just like covered in stuff, almost standing up because you can't sit down, just going, oh, this is so odd. And I had this one last scene to do and I was thinking of everything that I could ever possibly want to do with Chiana, trying to put it into this one scene. And it was actually episode 17, it wasn't the cliffhanger. So it was quite odd too, because we'd shot the last episode and not knowing that it was the last. So anyway, and he said, look, just, take it day by day and keep your head on straight and it's going to be like losing a loved one. And I turned to him and I said, listen, all I can say is to have walked on this set, let alone to have been a guest cast member on this set or to have spent my last 4 years working here. I've been completely and utterly blessed, so I just have to take that and thank you so much.
I've been to a lot of nice worlds. And I like nice things. But this place over doesn't.
We're famous for that.
Well, that's okay. As long as you got some place to go. When you screw this one up. Happens. Now questions. Out. Go.
Can we talk some more? I'll turn off the camera and close my eyes.
Oh, I don't want to. Go away.
Please, come on. Oh. Come on. Do you know how much one picture of you naked is worth? I could retire.
Yeah, I spent the rest of the weekend in shock, not knowing whether I should cancel my snowboarding trip and everyone said, do it, and we'll see you next Wednesday when we actually finish filming.
Wow, John. It's amazing. Like a movie set.
No, it's real. She's real. Touch her.
The last scene, it was like the theatre. Crew, actors who'd been on the show in series 1 or 2, came out for the last roll of the dice. And all these big, burly men hugging and tears, and Benny was just a mess, and he just literally grabbed the page for the scene, grabbed it, boom, stoically walked out there and did it. And the girl who played opposite him, she must have been thinking, what's been going on out here?
My friends are gonna have to leave anyway.
What about you?
I don't know. Just like they never saw Close Encounters. We're supposed to band together and embrace the unknown.
Who's giving you the most trouble?
Who isn't? Congress. The Russians, they think we're cutting them out of the technology, which we are. The Chinese are feeling isolated. The Brits, assholes. Totally unrealistic demands.
What about the Germans?
Yeah. It's our big backers, right? Try filling them with the spotlight. No. I reckon that they'd all just assume the Farscape project.
David Kemper read out a wonderful speech from Matt Roush from the TV Guide. Very generous comments that he made, and I got quite drunk, which I don't do often. So that's yeah. When I heard the news, it was crazy.
We didn't do anything wrong. We did a great job, and they cut us off before we finished telling the story. And I've talked to a lot of people, and Andrew and Ben, and the big regret is We didn't get to finish the story, and we all know that the house is like 80% painted, but we didn't screw up.
We got on the web and there was just this, it got leaked somehow. I think Ben and David went on the web and did a chat.
I heard there was going to be a chat informally on the sci-fi.com bulletin board. Somebody said, hey, you know, some of the cast are going to speak tonight. David Kipper wants to speak tonight. Drop on by. I think they got over 600 people in the chat room that night. They've since exceeded it, but that was a record, I think.
I was in on the chat room when David Kemper and Ben Browder and Ricky Manning were on, and I just kind of sat in stunned silence for a few minutes. There was not much to say. It was I had a bad week already, and just kind of the icing on the cake that week. And I was shocked.
I could not believe it. I mean, even on text in a chat room, you can't really tell a person's emotions, but you could tell that DK was upset. You could tell Ben Browder was upset. You could tell Ricky Manning was upset.
I was at a convention in, excuse me, Las Vegas. And a fan came up to me and said, all bright and cheery, how do you feel about the show being cancelled? I went, I'm sorry, just say that again, please. And they said, oh, you haven't heard? I said, no. Is there something I should know? And they said, oh, sorry, well, yes, it was on the net last night. I'm going, oh, really? Okay, well, because I had just flown up from Australia and finished working on Pilot the day before I flew out. So I'd been out of Australia 3 days. And I'd left on the Wednesday, and the person came up to me on the Saturday. And I said, well, if you don't mind, you'd better confirm it for me, because as far as I know, I'm going back to a show. And sure enough, they brought in a transcript on the following day, and the show had been well and truly cancelled.
Obviously, you know, sad, pissed off, frustrated, surprised, probably all the things that everybody else felt. And ultimately a sense of, well, that's showbiz. That's, you know, that's the reality of this business and life. You know, disappointing things happen and you get on with your life.
I thought, oh, but I'm an actor. I mean, nobody told me, but you go, oh, well, you know, nothing lasts forever, and that's an actor's life.
I cried. It was very upsetting. I think Sci-Fi made a very big mistake because it's been their flagship show for so long. It brought so many new viewers just to their channel.
That was a shock, really, because we had all thought that you'd be going on to season 5.
I just want to see the show end in the way that the creators wanted it to end. You know, I don't like being left with a cliffhanger, and I just want to see what happens to John Crichton and everybody else. So I don't care how long it takes, I just want to see the end of the show.
They deserve to finish their story in one way or another, and I hope they get that chance.
I was in the chat when David Kemper announced that the show was canceled. That was about 10 o'clock at night, and the site was up by 4 o'clock that morning. We're not just going to sit quietly by and, you know, watch something else. We're going to make our voices heard.
The response from the web was so completely humbling. It was incredible because in Australia, Farscape didn't really play, so it's been like working in a vacuum for 4.5 years in Australia. So you only get a sense of the fan response from the web. And jumping onto the web was a humbling and just an incredible experience, just to see these people so angry and passionate and thankful to us, and I can't even describe in words how humbling it was and how beautiful it was that these people cared so much.
A lot of people come forward and want to help and do what they can.
The first thing they'll say is, I'm so upset. And the second thing people will say is, what can I do?
When we realized that it was not going to be a quick deal, you know, we protest, they say, oh, sorry. We realized that we were going to be in for a long haul. We started setting up different groups of us to work different aspects. So we have a media group, we have the strategy and oversight committee, that's my committee. We have groups doing the writing, we have lots and lots of independent groups sort of working under the umbrella of Save Farscape, and they're the ones that did the commercial. They've been going around to different cons. We've been doing a targeted letter campaign.
What really impressed me was just the level of organisation behind how these people were going to save the show. Already there was funds set up and websites and really fantastically detailed. This is how you should protest. This is how you shouldn't protest. This is what we should be doing to these people. This is what we shouldn't be doing. And it was so well organised, and the advice was so well given from these people like Save Farscape and Save Farscape Central, and all these people were doing such a terrific job to get the message out and to get a good message out. Because there's nothing worse than people whinging for something, and you never got the sense that the escapists were whinging. You got the sense that they were passionate and that they wanted action, and they were doing it in a really appropriate way.
We've got a lot of professionals in the business who have come on board to help us, and we've been lucky that we've got some great graphic designers and good writers, and we're definitely doing more of a professional campaign than probably most groups are able to do.
To know when I came back from my snowboarding trip that we'd made it onto CNN on 2 consecutive nights and then another night the following week, and that it was the fans who'd achieved that.
In terms of fandoms, like X-Files is about that big. We're about that big. And we made this huge roar. We got on CNN 2 nights in a row, on CNN Headline News.
To know that they are working so hard, regardless of the result, to save Farscape, just validates everything I know and love about them.
The Save Farscape movement, incredible. Within 2 weeks there was a piece in the Daily Telegraph at home. It would have cost them a lot of money. I gather they printed the same piece around the world in different publications, thanking the cast and crew. It was one of the most potent things for our crew to get.
I'm overwhelmed by what the fans have done for the show.
The movement itself is like a freight train. Completely out of control some days, but definitely on the right track.
I am a trademark paralegal. I am Farscape.
I'm a federal disaster consultant. I am Farscape.
I design and build robots for a living, and I am Farscape.
I'm a psychotherapist, and I am Farscape.
I'm a mechanical design engineer, and I am Farscape.
I am a graphic designer. I am Farscape.
I'm a full-time mother. I'm Farscape.
I am a logistics coordinator, and I am Farscape.
Help save Farscape. Visit savefarscape.com.
You think, oh my goodness gracious, how can you people care that much about this show that is so beautiful? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's incredible.
Those people, those people are so committed. They're not going to lay down. And it just gives you such a sense of, the job's well beyond just an acting job. You're responsible for people's happiness and the joy that we've brought to people's lives. Really got it this time.
I don't know, it's an amazing thing. I've never ever hooked onto a TV show the way I have with this.
I've never seen a show that could pull you in so quickly and keep you in so deeply.
They don't pull their punches. If something really heartbreaking or nasty happens, it stays that way. That's the way real life is.
I think the great thing about Farscape is that it remains hard and therefore real and therefore infinitely variable and therefore harder to do, harder to follow, but therefore much more uplifting than something is just going to put me to sleep, or I could get into it any time I wanted to.
It is without a doubt the most honest thing I have ever seen on television. It uses the medium in the way that I think the medium really should be used, as a serial, to tell a long story in short installments over a period of time. And I think that is part of what has us so upset. We have a fantastic novel here, and somebody has just ripped out the last 22 pages. We're not going to get to know how it turns out, and for me that's a major motivating factor.
They're not going to lay down. They won't be happy until we put this to bed, one way or the other. My costume and boots are in storage. I wanted my boots. There's 2 sets of boots. And I've always been told the boots are yours, Wayne, when you finish. The boots are in storage. I can't have them. They're in storage for 2 years before they will give me my boots. So obviously there's 2 years. There's a window of opportunity for this to be put to bed, and put to bed in the right way. So, fingers crossed.
Oh, the fans are just so amazing about it and so committed. And somebody was telling me that she was writing to 1 million stations and doing all this incredible stuff. And I was going, you go, girl, but on the other hand, don't die if it doesn't come back on, because, it might not. But we'll see. Anything's possible in this universe and all others.
As fans, what we're trying to do right now is raise awareness of the show as far and wide as we can, trying to get that extra 500,000 viewers to tune in. If we can get them there, I believe the show is good enough to keep them there. If they stay there for the back 11, then suddenly David Kemper and company have something to negotiate with that they did not have before. He has said that he is holding out for a 5th season. That's ultimately what we all want. We expect, yes, we would see it again in some format. There's been a lot of talk of a movie, and that would be fantastic, but that won't be the end of the novel that we've been seeing. That would be another story, a self-encapsulated story. I desperately want to see the end of this story. I want to see John and Aaron get what they've been fighting for so long.
Well, I miss it. I've discovered sleep now. Now my body's slowed down, and since I've finished Farscape, I had got tonsillitis, and then I stayed in bed, and then because I've doing tours and stuff as well, I've been really sort of running off my feet, which has been fantastic. And then the downtime has just been literally sitting at home watching videos or DVDs in bed, just in your tracky dacks. Yeah, and I miss the cast, and I miss, because it really is like a huge family. But hopefully we'll see what happens. I don't know.
It's like we all know we're going to die someday, and you'd rather not face that reality. And now that it's happened, I just kind of think, well, it was going to happen someday. It didn't happen on our terms, but not many things do in life. And we should be so proud, because I think it's something like 5% of all TV shows make it to a 4th season. So I think we did remarkably well, all things considered.
I kind of became philosophical, I think you do as an actor, and so, I just said, well, at least we've made a mark, I think, with the show. At the, turn of the new millennium, we were all in a wonderful, amazing, groundbreaking science fiction storytelling show. And very proud to have been part of that.
I think when something finishes quickly like that, you go through a grieving process, and then you think about all the things that were wrong about it, so that you're glad it's over. It's like a relationship, I never really liked them anyway. And then you think about the things that were truly solid good about it. The experience for me was extremely challenging, and absolutely fascinating. And of course, I think almost everybody else would go deeper in a second, if given the opportunity.
You do grow attached to things, but as an actor you have to learn, if you like, again, a religious doctrine of detachment, in the sense that you've just got to let it go. I miss Rigel.
I've never experienced anything like it before. Everyone, when you walk away from a job, there's an element of adjustment. This was a family, and it hurt.
Farscape has meant to me family more than anything, and has been reinforced by going to conventions and meeting people who have a mutual love of the show and an enthusiasm for us as well as performers. I remember the first long-term television role that I did, lead role I did, I was so sad when it finished, even though it didn't go for that long, not nearly as long as Farscape, because I would have to say goodbye to these people, and I knew I would never see them that way again, in the room together, ever again, maybe. And I got very attached to people, and when you work on something like Farscape for 4 years, some people come and go. We did a photo where it was just the people who'd been there from the very first day, and there weren't many left, I have to say. There were about maybe 10 maximum from the crew and the actors, and I've carried all of them with me. We try to keep in contact, but we'll never be together as a group again. So while it lasted, it was definitely about our funny, dysfunctional, crazy, collaborative family.
Change is the most permanent thing, and off we go. Ta-dam! The land of Farscape, or not.
Farscape's been an incredible opportunity. The best character, I think, in a long time to play. And a lot of fun and a lot of hard work. And yeah, an experience of a lifetime.